enough to win the game, but they kind of Homebois went for the Lord, and then they realized we can go just straight for Crystal, and this is the kind of play you need to eliminate if you want to play in higher stages of the tournament. You gotta don't waste time on this kind of decisions like back and forth. We go for the Lord, okay, we're gonna finish. Like, you don't waste time on this one. But hey, today it was enough to proceed for later stages in the tournament and bring out 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking a little hard for Homebois there at some point. S2G was securing the Lord, almost team wiping Homebois, and it was kind of almost looking like S2G did what Homebois did to them, and again, they were just able to turn it around. You just can't forget about the fundamentals of the game there, and I think Homebois was just really good at baiting out a lot of stuff from S2G, and we can kind of take a look at some of these highlights here, War Barbie.
Yeah, this is a good start with a turtle and a kill on the jungler here, and even more rotations on the top lane with a double kill, resulting on the opposite lane dying carry, and a good blazing duet trying to defend the last insanity. Actually, good counter ults, I guess, just to run away. And again, Aurora uses that ultimate quadruple Phantom Slash here, resulting the win on the fight for the S2G. But this is like the point where S2G should take more with this Lord. They have like almost 6k gold advantage, triple kill, didn't go for single inhibitor. This really bothers me. And now this is comeback. This is comeback from Homebois, because you need to pressure more when you have an opportunity. Yeah, I get it, it's risky, I get it, but I mean, guys, you gotta go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we can just see that Homebois never let up the pressure, even though there was moments that they felt like they were behind from our eyes, and then Homebois just, look, I mean, they were able to take all the the tier 3 turrets down by S2G while they had their own, as well as they were just doing great lane management to keep S2G away from the Lord. And we can just see from the highlights that it was a back and forth battle. Could have been anybody's game, but Homebois coming out victorious right here. This is the last insanity that took out Aurora and put a lot of damage under the R-Lock. Couldn't do much, as a final slash wouldn't have been enough here. And then Homebois taking advantage, full advantage there, popping immortalities left and right.
Is it me or Aurora just sell the immortality, or am I hallucinating? Seems like she had an immortality on top of the freeze, but like after proc passive it kind of disappeared. Maybe it was one hero on top of another hero, and it was Ruby's immortality. But hey, super good positioning from Nana. A lot of, I mean, insane amount of damage here in terms of like the fights and the even solo kills. Like Claude and the Arlot was the victims of the burst. And the necklace as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, a lot of anti-heal was built by the side of Homebois, and we can kind of see the MVP here, Adul, able to secure it with the Nana. It was just, I mean, we've seen how many times the Melina Blitz just took apart the R-Lot and took apart the Claude. It was just too much for them to handle. Kazu actually did really well on the Leomord, though kind of get baited a little bit by Homebois, and I think that's they utilized that to their advantage, and then they were able to take the win. We can kind of look at some of the stats here, War Barbie.
Yeah, and the freeze on Xborg on the last fight was insanely valuable, because 4 people being slowed so hard, it did a lot for the team, and the 30% of the damage on top of that. Wow, this Xborg really knows what to do.
Yeah, most definitely. The Xborg CPAT, I mean, he he executed the export really well in the first game and did it even better in the second game. And it just came down to that true damage was devastating to such a frontal heavy comp that S2G utilized. So again, CPAT just applying that pressure non-stop, kept them at bay, and then it was just like the secret plays by the Nana that just, you know, caused a couple mistakes on S2G's part.
Yeah, I agree on this one. Leomord went 5-0-4, but still kind of like you should like carry the game. Yeah, 5 kills, 0 death, and 4 assists is good, but I didn't saw him carrying the game. Like he should do more like to win this game. They all like doing a little things to help their team, but like nobody carrying the game. Like they should do more to win this. And just like we saw, it wasn't enough. Like the most important part in my opinion is the defense of the objective or attack, and attack of the objective. Like they kind of like on the mid lane just give an objective. Aurora have ult, Leomord have ult, Claude have ult. You can.
Has a lot more wave clear here as compared to Lilgun, who is more on the setups. They actually did go for the full commit, knowing that Lilgun can actually punish them in their base. So they did go for it for the full commit, and 21 minutes in, we're still not done yet. Looking at the items here, I really can't tell you guys anymore, but a lot of the immortalities have been purchased, and at this point, like, no one is leading in terms of the items because everybody pretty much got what they wanted. But Burby Schools, I think they should be able to take down this last inhibitor, maybe possibly go the safer route, take that last lord, and maybe seal the deal here for Lil Guns. What they really need to do is take down these damage dealers, which Nico has been doing so well, right? Like, looking at it, it's a full damage item. So what Lil Gun needs to do here if they want to get Nico contained is maybe get him on the setups here for Aizen, or maybe get the setups from Ethan as well to get in that Violet Requiem and that Spatial Migration combination. But as of the moment, right, Burby Schools is playing this nice and safe. Maybe go for the split push later on while everybody's busy trying to maybe steal the Lord. But here it is. Two things that can happen here for Burby Schools. Split push or go for the Lord.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Nico only knows 2 words, and you know what that is? Bay and Bex. So he might want to be careful as he rotates around this map, as you are seeing both teams ready to fight it out again, possibly in the jungle. Lord will spawn in the next 30 seconds. Battle on the way, though. Blink. Taken down to about 50% HP, will expand the distance away from Team Lil Gun. Definitely does not want any parts of that. We're at the 23-minute mark, right? If anybody falls, they're going to be down for like an entire minute. And that is huge for either side. And definitely going to have to kind of play closer together. But Nico, again, look at him with the split push on the bot side. He's the only player doing this in this entire map. Team Lil Gun having a hard time rotating around and denying his split push capability.
Yeah, at this point, like, I was like, okay, is it Nico or is it Stitch? Because, the Nathan can actually shut down the base really fast. Like, there was a time before it was so broken. Like, I can just, get that Johnson in, land it in the base, and it's over, right? But now it has been adjusted, so everybody's just gonna go for, of course, the safer route here for Burby Schools is to take down this Lord so that they can finally take in the base here. But look at what Nico is doing here at this point. It's not even Delar. It is Nico doing the work. Even Delar is actually setting up for some sort of split push play here. A lot of the minion waves are crashing in the base here of Lil Gun, particularly the bottom side, which kind of caused like 1 or 2 players to actually go back for the base. But Sora is still here, trying to get that steal with the retribution. But here comes Ethan, though, denied of that set. But it's gonna be Stitch picking up that kill.
Yeah, Stitch is gonna pick up the Lord. He's got
Nico,
the Lord.
though?
They're gonna be able to push Nico. He's gonna take down 4 bit. But now, trapped in the base, Stitch finds Aizen. Nico needs to get out of there. Spatial migration for the knockup. Zara joining the party. The 4-man team. They're gonna make it pay. He's gonna hit the winner trying to sustain himself, buying as much time as he can. Forbid buying the immortality. Luminous Lord now making his way through the mid lane.
Yo, Nico, at this point, this guy has so many tricks up his sleeve. I thought it was just the immortality. He even bought the Winter Truncheon to buy him some time, but it's inevitable here. Numbers advantage. Actually, both sides have 4 members, but this is the Luminous Lord you're talking about. It's crashing in the base, a little gun.
Lil Gun with their final stand, trying to hold off Berkeley Schools, not trying to get knocked out of the game of future. Stitch winds one, gets a double, takes down Zara. Down goes the base Crystal, and Berkeley Schools, fresh out of Myanmar, shuts down Team Lil Gun out of Mongolia, knocked out of the elimination stage for Game of Futures 2024 Group Stage A.
This is looking really great for the Burmese schools that faced that 2-0 yesterday. It was a tough match actually for both sides yesterday, but this time Burmese schools proved to be the much better team here in this round. Lil Gun though, I love the fact that they've been trying to answer out to Burmese schools all all throughout the game. All throughout the series they've been trying to answer them out. But you know what? Oh man, I gotta give it to Nico in this game though. Like we've seen some shades of it in the first game, but here in game number 2, this guy has not only bought time, but took down Bebix and Sora several times. I'm not even surprised. At this point, I'm not so sure because, you know, we went into the late game, a lot of assists, a lot of kills for both sides. Actually, yeah, a personal MVP would have to be Nico in this game, man. The things that he has been doing for Burmese schools proved to be very, very vital here in game number 2.
If he does not get MVP on this one, I don't know anymore. Like, what else does Nico have to do? The man buys an immortality, holds off a 4-man team, procs the Ritter Trunchi. Like, this is insane. Just how good of a player he is. We got to definitely give him credit to the split push capability. And we asked the question before game 2 started, does Lil Gun ban out the Paquito? They let it walk, and he picked it up right away. Bebex had no answer for it. The man was, like I said, he has 2 gloves. It says Bet on one and Bex on the other. The way he was finding him in those engagements, and my God.
Bebex, I think by the time it reached the late game, it was like Bebex or Zora. Yeah, it was just Bebix or Zora.
Man.
He just went in for those damage dealers, which is actually the reason why, like, Lil Gun had these great setups, right? Care of Ethan, care of Aizen, even with the I Am Offended. But, you know, without the follow-ups of these great sets, there's really nothing much you can do. Your team can't really, you know, get in the pickoffs that you want. And it was all care of, yeah. Yep, the man, Nico. Nico with that. Nico with the punches coming through. Like, several times he took down Bebix, I think. At that point, Bebix already had like 5 or 6 deaths, or they all care of Nico in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he just wasn't able to find a way to even participate in the team. He did get one play, though, where Guinevere joined him on that play side of the base to be able to get his revenge, but then right after that, I mean, Bebix came right back, or Nico came right back and was just dominating. Man, just such a great game from the Burmese schools. I know Myanmar out there just screaming right now their respective region as they were holding those banners high, jumping into the highlight plays on what painted this amazing 2-0 sweep. Zora finding Nico, also getting that detonus welcome for the stun. But overall, like we said, if anybody gets the MVP in this game, it has to be Nico.
Yeah, Nico, and even I think props also to Saksa and Dilar here, who has been, you know, soaking up the damage, and all Nico needed to do was just go in for the knockup strike, and he's able to, you know, dish out the damage here with the insane burst that Paquito has. But right now, what Lil Gun actually did really well here in the early is, you know, Sora was actually on Rampage very early on, but, you know, see what Nico has been doing? Like, he's target at first it was Bebix, and at that point, like where Sora was actually needed to be shut down, he actually did the exact same thing. There was some sustain coming out here from Lil Gun in the form of that Nether Realm, but you know, right after the Nether Realm was gone, you know, Nico just does Nico things. There was the retaliation there coming out from Sora, but it was not enough. Guys, by the time it reached the late game, like Burmese schools was just playing on that fact that, okay, let's go for the Lord. Nico, you keep them busy by trying to go for the split force, or either try to get in a pickup onto Zora or to Bebix. A lot of great plays here actually from Burmese schools and Lil Gun. Nice setups, nice tugs, and unfortunately the thing here is for Burmese schools is that they executed it really well when it came to the late game. They just went in for, you know, the turret takes, going for the objective takes, and yeah, it was so much more easier to take in those objectives like the turrets, and then eventually go for the base turret.
There's the revenge on Nico right there on the top side of the base too. That's when Bebix was able to get that kill over him. I swear we could make like a highlight montage of how many times Nico was able to find the back line for Team Lil Gun and how many times he split push and created the opportunity for the Burmese schools, especially on these neutral objectives, forcing the team to kind of split up and try and maintain their wave management. There goes Nico again. Able to get another hit. The man was just on fire. We really got to kind of pan over and see who gets the MVP this time around. I mean, Saksa was 0-1 and 11 at this point in the game, 24 minutes in. Has the highest assist of the game, but Nico's 9-6 and 4. He is pretty high on the desk though, so I don't know if it'll go to him or not. But you are seeing the game winner right there, the Clash, to be able to claim victorious and get a 2-0 sweep, sending Team Lil Gun home. As Mongol, you're going to see Myanmar push forward Burmese schools, and there goes MVP. Wait a second, it's Stitch.
Yep, it is gonna be Stitch of Burmese schools as the MVP. And if you actually did notice, like the clashes, right? Like why a lot of the players from Little Guns are actually down low. It was all because of the entropy that the Stitch was actually popping in. Like, yeah, props to Nico in this entire game. I still would say that he is my personal MVP here, getting down the backlines. But it was Stitch actually the one dishing out the damage. He was taken down in the early part of the game care of Zora, but eventually he was able to bounce back, get in the items, and eventually he'll get in a lot of these turrets. Like if you actually take a look at Stitch's turret takedowns here in this game, I think it should be either like more than 50% here. He is the MVP, but of course props to the other teams who definitely enabled him, definitely gave him that space to actually have this kind of KDA, right? 6-1-6 on this, and he has the immortality, and I did mention everybody has it by the time it reaches that 25-minute mark, right? And I was right. Look at the turret damage. Way more than anyone else because he was the one pushing the lane up top that created actually a lot of the space here for Burmese schools to actually take in the objectives, the Lord, and even the Turtle. Props to Little Gun though for actually having in those setups, but unfortunately for Bebex and even Zora, the damage dealers here of Little Gun, they're not able to do so, all because of Nico's Paquito.
You know, it's interesting, too, because Forbid had more damage than Bebex did in that game. 30% hero damage overall. That's just because they were able to find a way to shut him down, get into the back lane every time. If it wasn't Nico taking down Bebex, it was D-Lar. But you did mention Stitch with the MVP. I mean, he did have the best KDA in the game. The man was 6-1 and 6 for a reason, and definitely flawless execution. And now, we're seeing our first team progress into the playoffs for the Game of Futures 2024. It will be the Burmese schools out of Myanmar. Mongolia, hopefully we get to see you guys next time competing, but definitely shout out to Team Lil Gun as they put up an amazing fight in both of those matches. There's some more matches on the way, some exciting games that we are going to be catching. Actually, that game was way more entertaining than I thought it would have been. Way more entertaining than I thought it would have been. I don't even think
you didn't ask
the
for
next
a VO3 though.
Yeah, I
you didn't ask for a VO3 though. You wanted to see 3 games, but what you got... Yeah, I think what you got was like action-packed. 2 games straight, action-packed Paquito plays coming out from Nico. Like, honestly, that was super entertaining. I wasn't expecting it to actually stretch out to the 25-minute mark. I actually thought Burmese schools would have at least closed it out by the first Lord, but instead, you know, they were a little bit more careful, right? Like, this is a do-or-die match, which is really understandable why every single play should be thought of really well. Like, the decision-making of Burmese schools has to be on point here, and they definitely did it right. Little Gun, though, they had a good run. They've shown a lot of promise, too. They've been quite updated with the meta, but unfortunately they have to go. Burmese schools will be fighting the victors actually, or the losers of the next match, which is going to be RRQ Hoshi or Deus Vult. I think this is going to be really exciting as well. 2 of these top teams that you've seen in the M5, so I think this is going to be a very interesting BO3 that we're going to be seeing too.
Yeah, honestly, this is probably going to be the most intense match out of all the group stages, in my personal opinion, with RRQ Hoshi and Deus Vult. I mean, both of them really great teams. Now, RRQ Hoshi, like you said, a couple of little new additions to the team. Back to RRQ Hoshi for the name as well. And out of Indonesia. They've been performing really well. Their rotations were great yesterday when they were competing up against Lil Gun. They were able to kind of outperform and rotate, and it led to a flawless victory, really. They're a very strong team, looking super promising so far. Irad, man, on the Lancelot was even better than, I would say, Nico on that Paquito, the way he was puncturing around and dancing on the floor in the Land of Dawn. But when it comes to Deus Vult, I mean, you've got Kid Bomba, the man with was a monster in the XP lane. Sawo just rotating around, creating the opportunity. Sunset Lover actually he has
Sunset Lover.
He's tied for the most MVPs so far in Game of Futures 2024. And it's definitely been a threat that they are going to have to watch out for. So I think both sides have some secret weapons. But we're going to get to see Russia go up against Indonesia. Indonesia, which is considered one of the top regions inside of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Russia climbing up that ladder. I mean, you see them inside of M5. You see Deus Vult, they placed 4th place. They lost to the Philippines. Blacklist took them down. But now they have another chance to rise up to the occasion. And I mean, 4th place is great, especially out for Russia. That's a huge statement. It kind of reminds me of our NA scene back when we had BTK and M3, and they went super high up there, and everybody was kind of paying attention to put North America on the map. And that's what I kind of get when I look at Deus Vult, that same type of feeling.
Sorry guys.
And that's why I honestly think this may be one of the best matches, if not the best match that we'll be seeing in the group stage before we go to the playoffs.
Yeah, actually, I want to point out too that both Deus Vult and RRQ don't have a loss just yet, right? Like, this is going to be their first loss. Either Deus Vult or RRQ Hoshi is going to face their first loss here for Games of the Future. And, of course, you know, they still have to fight their way through. One of them is actually going to be going up against the Burmese schools. That is the team moving forward here in Group A. So it's going to be really exciting, too, to see who comes forward. Everybody just, you know, has these new players coming into, like, Burmese schools has the and Saksa, and then talk about RRQ, you're gonna be seeing Irad, right, who was a monster yesterday in yesterday's games, picking up those assassins that we haven't seen for the longest time. Like, we've been playing around with a lot of these you know, Barretts, a lot of these fighter types of junglers, but Irad is just like, you know, fighter junglers, we're still gonna go with one of my top picks. One of the picks that he was actually known for the first time he debuted in MPL Philippines. It was the Lancelot. So we might expect to see some respect bans coming through here for both RRQ and Deus Vult here in the second match.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he's one of the few heroes or junglers that I've seen run an assassin so far in the Game of Futures 2024. He did run the Lancelot, had a great game. And then before that, he ran the Fredrin and went a little bit for more tank fighter composition. With the side of Deus Vults, though, I mean, the junglers that they were kind of slotting in up against Burmese schools when they did face was the Guinevere. Actually, both times it was Guinevere. So I'm wondering if the side of RRQ Hoshi is going to ban that out and see what other tricks they have up their sleeves. Maybe it's a comfort pick that Deus Vult likes to go for. As we've been seeing a lot of teams kind of prioritize, even when the Guinevere is available as a possible first pickup, a lot of teams are going in for that Ruby that we've been seeing. So we'll have to see how this kind of plays into it. I am expecting a really good game. I'm hoping this one does go to a best of 3 all the way to a game 3, though. Just with the level of competition that these teams are providing. I mean, both of them, like you mentioned, are fresh off of a sweep and undefeated so far, but one of these teams is officially going to take their first loss as we move on forward. But both of them are going to be moving to the playoffs regardless, so definitely congratulations there. But whoever wins this match coming up will move on to Stage 2, which is the quarterfinals of Game of Futures 2024, whereas the other one is going to start in Stage 1, which will give them a harder time climbing up that bracket because it's single elimination. If you lose, you're out.
Yeah, it's a very crucial BO3s for a lot of these teams, right? And in BO3s, I think there's just a lot of things that you have to take into consideration, right? Like, if the team wins the first game, the momentum is there, right? And then when you head over to the second game, if the other team manages to at least snag a game, right, that could at least take away the momentum of that winning team. But here in Games of the Future, you got a really big prize pool. You got all these stellar teams. Everybody just wants to climb up the ladder. And, you know, you definitely don't want to make a mistake. And all these teams just, right now, they're just really showing all that they got here in Games of the Future. And everybody is just kind of adjusting to the new meta, right? Like, a lot of the rubies here, I wasn't expected to see that, actually. If you asked me this question back last year, I wouldn't say the same thing, right? The Ruby was, there was a time it actually disappeared from the XP lane after the buffs became like it became like a roamer, right? Like setting up the place with the I am offended, and eventually it went back to the XP lane. Overall, it's such a great pick right now. We haven't seen the traditional mid laner here for the side of Burmese Schools. Twice Nico picked up that Paquito. So I was like, wait, where are the Nanas? Where are the Vexanas? Where are the Auroras here? But yeah, you know what? It was a good type of different play coming out from the Burmese Schools that they definitely needed here in this do or die match. But you know, speaking of the picks here, Steph, what else do you want to see here in Games of the Future? I mean, we've seen a Vexana, we've seen an Aurora that we haven't seen in professional play for such a long time.
Oh, a pick that I would like to see that we haven't seen yet. I always like watching Fanny games. I don't know, something about it. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a Fanny game would be fun. Seeing a team pull that out. I don't know if they will though, just the way the meta's kind of shifting. We did see some in North America though, as we are having our qualifiers currently going on for MSC in Gaming Gladiators, which is formerly known as TOB. They're the team that represented us internationally, competing last year at M5 and all the other international tournaments that NA had a seat in. They pulled out the Fanny, but not too many other teams did. I don't know if we'll kind of see it in this current meta though, especially on the international level with an $1 million prize on the line. A lot of teams aren't going to really take that high of a gamble unless they're really confident in it. But speaking of confidence, as we are looking at the Digital MOBA MLBB bracket, you are looking at group stage round 1 and 2. The results are there. RRQ Hoshi taking down Team Lil Gun. Round 2, RRQ Hoshi is going to be going up against Deus Vult. The winner of this will move on to stage 2. The loser will be dropped down to stage 1. We got to see in round 1, Burmese Schools up against Deus Vult 2-0 lead. Deus Vult is able to get that clean sweep. So both teams, RRQ Hoshi and Deus Vult, are undefeated. And then round 2, which we just seen, Team Lil Gun up against Burmese Schools. The battle of Nico versus Bebex. Burmese Schools able to get the 2-0 sweep, and that is going to cover completely on Group Stage A, but we do have a couple of other groups that were on the scene as well. Next match is going to be RRQ Hoshi up against Deus Vult. This is going to be a best of 3. I can't wait to see where this goes, but guys, there is another stream going on too as well. Group B is currently ongoing at the same time, and just to update everybody on the stats of that, Homebois took down S2G out from Turkey. They have been eliminated as well, so we have our first 2 teams knocked out of Game of Futures 2024. Team Lil Guns out of Mongolia, and then S2G from Turkey.
Yeah, I love how you have the constant updates even though we're here in Stream A. We got the update from Stream B. Yeah, we do have 2 streams here. It is live at the same time, so if you guys want to check out some of your favorite teams that are playing over on the other side, you guys can choose to go in that stream. But if, of course, for this stream, we're going to be seeing RRQ Hoshi and Deus Vult here playing for a best out of 3 once again in one of the matches that is highly anticipated here for today, apart from the matches that we're going to be seeing later on. But there's a lot to talk about here for RRQ, right? They're playing with a new roster, the first time we're going to be seeing it, and they did so well. 2-0s in yesterday's matches, and they're looking to continue that. Yesterday, same case here for Deus Vult. I think for both sides, right, they're working with some new players here. For RRQ, it is going to be Irad and Brusco here in their lineup. And for Deus Vult, they got in someone new. So it used to be Carvey on the gold lane. They do have someone new here. Let's see how this... I think this is kind of like a test, too, on how well their chemistry will work, knowing that this is kind of one of the biggest tournaments that you would see actually before the major tournaments that will be happening in their respective regions.
Yeah, and speaking of RRQ Hoshi, I mean, the last time we got to see them compete was in MPLI 2023 in November, losing to See You Soon, but they claimed a victory over Team Flash. And then right before that, they did have a decent series inside of MPL Indonesia. They lost to Bigatron on their last game from that, but we didn't get to see them on the world stage for M5. So now getting to see them back in action and looking stronger than ever with their new roster. You've got Banana, Skylar, Octa, Irad, and Brusco leading the way for Indonesia, trying to represent and hold that banner.
A little trivia too about Irad and Brusco. And Brusco was one of the players that I really followed from the amateur scene all the way up to the point that he reached MPL. So it's a great story overall. Both Brusco and Irad definitely have a lot to prove. But we have to talk a little bit about the most picked and the most bans here today. We got the Beatrix most banned, one of the comfort picks here coming out from Skylar from RRQ Hoshi. Then you got the most banned, of course, still the Guinevere and the Matilda. that is not going to be going away of the ban list. Matilda provides so much utility, so much mobility as well to the team, which is kind of understandable why it is standing on top right now next to the Ruby. Most banned by the opponent is going to be the Nolan. We know how Irad is actually so good with these burst assassin type of heroes that can really make it so hard for the opponent when it comes to the early game.
Yeah, now looking at Deus Vult all the way out from Russia. The heavy hitters that placed 4th inside of M5. Definitely some crowd favorites here. Sawo, Sunset Lover, Magister, Kid Bomba, and Hiko. And like we said, Sunset Lover currently tied for the most MVP so far from day 1 of the Game of Futures 2024. Now, we looked at a little bit of the bans, right, from the side of RRQ Hoshi on what they kind of go in for. That Guinevere definitely being slotted out. But Team Lilgun, they haven't actually played a Guinevere. The junglers that we've been seeing them run was the Barats and the Martis. So I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of a change in the strategy from...
Yeah. The thing here is, I have a prediction here for RRQ Hoshi, and